I want to look at a few things today. The first thing is, I was watching a Destiny video where he interviewed this guy named Dylan Meisner. I apologize if I mispronounced. Um, and during the interview, this guy actually no, I take that back. Destiny was being interviewed by Dylan. During the interview, he asked a lot of questions about Destiny Lefty arc, which was a long time ago. Destiny has since debated a few right wing people, which did not get any questions. There could be a timing issue there, but based off of when the videos were submitted, it doesn't seem like there would be. And also, there was a part of the interview that really just made, this was while I was watching and after the interview, I went onto his Reddit and asked if it seemed to like anyone else like this guy was a centrist shill. And here's what I mean by that. To me, and I could be using this word wrong, but to me, a shill is somebody who will support a certain ideology, a certain policy, a certain candidate, a certain side of the spectrum, no matter what. Shills very rarely have the ability to criticize whatever it is they are supporting, or have the ability to critically look at whatever it is they are. It is one thing to critically look at the thing you are supporting and still support it anyways, and it is another thing to completely dismiss criticism. And there was only really one slight mask off moment to end the time. And that was when Dylan asked Destiny, "How do you think do you think Donald Trump is doing a good job with the Syria situation?" Now, I don't know much about the Syria situation. Dylan is a journalist. I would assume he knows quite a bit about Syria, probably, maybe. I guess it depends on what he reports on. But Destiny's response was, well, that all started in the Obama administration, or at least Obama's administration really kind of dropped the ball on that one. I wouldn't say it started there, but Obama administration was kind of responsible and dropped the ball on that one. To which Dylan acted like he didn't know that. And it's not fair of me to call him a shill just because of that. It's just between that, the combination of the type of questions he was asking, he didn't really attack any of the right wing people. He seemed at the very least a very anti-leftist shill, maybe. Like he's really seemed to rail against the far left, which there are a lot of criticisms to be thrown at the far left, for sure, but they also seem to be irrelevant to the conversation right. And like avid Trump supporters seem to be the most relevant political group that is opposing the side that he would want to see win. So yeah, I asked the community if it seemed like a leftist shield to anyone else I got a few responses, and one of them was tweet. A tweet done by Dylan himself. And he pretty much replied to it. I don't think I'm going to be able to find that tweet right now. But he pretty much responded to what I had to say. And I have a lot of respect for him for that. So much so that I sent him and I had to send him a message instead of responding to his tweet. Because if I responded to his tweet, what I said to him in the messages, I'd be pretty much doxing myself. Which I'm pretty much doxing myself right now, which means that I'm going to have to go on before posting this YouTube video and delete the Reddit thread that I posted, so I'm not doxing myself. Anyways, I told him, hey man, I'm the guy that posted a Reddit thread in r/Destiny. I want to thank you for responding to it, and also thank you for recognizing that I was asking the question in good faith. That was another thing. He put it on his Twitter that he thinks that I was asking the question in good faith, which I was. Though the way that I worded things, I don't see how he was able to come to that conclusion. The way that I worded things, but it was a good faith question. I'm bad. Not sure how you came to that conclusion, considering I worded everything very poorly to demonstrate that it was good faith. But I appreciate it. I made a Twitter today. I actually made my Twitter the day that I saw all this. So I could contact you and tell you that I was going to make a Twitter anyways for my Twitch account. But I had to DM you this because because this is my Twitch Twitter account, and the Reddit account is my original Reddit, which has my full name. I don't know enough about your body of work to fairly call you a centrist shill. But since you took the time to reply to my Reddit post, I thought I owe it to you to read up on some of your work. I'm sure I can Google your name and find your work, but is there anything you are particularly proud of or think I should read? And he sent me 3 links. I may not read all 3 of them today, but I owe it to him to read through some of the stuff that he's written, and so that I can make a fair judgment, I guess, as to what his body of work demonstrates. A ceasefire is not enough. How long is this? Okay, it's not too good shit. To say that the humanitarian situation in Syria, so this is a piece about Syria, which I know quite a bit about Syria. He probably knows more than I do. Which leads me to question whether it's true that the Obama administration holds a lot of responsibility for the situation in Syria when it comes to American involvement, or B, whether he just didn't, whether he ignoring Obama administration's hand in whatever is going on in Syria. I don't personally know. I don't have a judgment on that. I generally believe that Destiny wouldn't say something like that unless he knew. Or if he was given information to suggest the contrary, he would change his mind. So maybe Miss Destiny was taken in. I don't know. It's deteriorating. This was done in 2020, by the way. Implies that it was not already in tatters as it has been for years. So he recognizes that it happened. So maybe I was just misreading the situation. Maybe he knows that it was under the Obama administration that Syria, Obama administration had a hand in Syria. And that just wasn't the question that he wanted to ask. So maybe I was just misreading the whole. Syria is in many ways a geopolitical microcosm of the Middle East. There are 4 main competing states interested vying for the upper hand: Iran, Russia, Turkey, and America, and multiple significant non-state actors. All have interest in the country that simultaneously collide and intersect, weaving the nightmare situation currently unfolding in Idlib. It is in the southwestern Syrian city, where 1 million refugees, many women and children, are living in hellish conditions. Internationally displaced children and babies are freezing to death in tent cities, where the largest vestige of rebel-held territory and territory that Assad government, along with its ally Russia, has recently led merciless bombing campaigns. The recent siege has been taken with absolute disregard for civilian casualties, which is unfortunately a behavior we have come to expect for Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, who has used chemical weapons against his own civilians on multiple occasions, most recently just a month ago in May 2019. See, I didn't know that they were still using chemical weapons against citizens. Cite a source. So, yeah. I'm sure this guy does his research. I definitely do. Past and present failures. American foreign policy in Syria as of late has been nothing short of unmitigating disaster. From Barack Obama's outright refusal to enforce his own red line in 2014, when it was first confirmed by reporting from the heroic reporting of White House helmets that Assad was using chemical weapons. So he recognizes Barack Obama's failures. So, guys, probably not. Okay, I suck. To President Trump's recent troop pullout of betrayal of betrayal of the Kurds, irreplaceable allies in fighting against ISIS. President Obama's abject refusal to address Iran's funding of terror around Middle East, wow, felt by civilians in Idlib as well. Iran has been propping up Syrian regimes for years at this point and doing so to the tune of billions of dollars per year. There are a variety of potential ways forward in confronting an ongoing crisis in Syria. It is certainly a quagmire of a problem, which is why any American intervention must be calculated as it is forceful. One word that's being used consistently by both Trump administration and his Democratic 2020 challengers like Bernie Sanders is ceasefire. This proposal is illegitimate because it falsely recognizes the Assad government as peace partners worth working with to reach solutions to a disaster that they themselves caused. Assad and his allied forces no such entity. They are an enemy of liberal world in order as such should be disposed of. So it seems like he is in favor of regime change imposed by the American government, which is interesting. I would really actually like to talk to him about this, and I might do that through Twitter. I probably will. Twitter. Intervention is needed. Okay, so this will probably get into more of a details what he would like to see as a foreign policy when it comes to Syria. Russia must be removed from the equation as much as possible. Its stated mission in the Middle East is to help fight ISIS is a joke of an excuse. In reality, the Kremlin, along with the days of Soviet Empire and sees Syria as a useful outlet to exert its influence. Hillary Clinton's plan to establish a no-fly zone was exactly correct in that it sought to draw down the conflict and stimuli of a Russian offensive against the Syrian rebels. The no-fly zone position was really, really controversial on my end of the aisle. There was fear of outright war with Russia should a no-fly zone be implemented. And like, what if you implement a no-fly zone and then they break it? Then what? Are you going to fight Russia? I guess tighter sanctions are an option, but yeah. As unpopular as the term might be in post-Iraq War America, intervention with the stated mission of regime change is justified. Isolationists who do not wish to involve American military for humanitarian purposes will likely make comparisons to the Iraq debacle. Such comparisons are ill-informed for multiple reasons. This is so convenient because I'll make a point and he just already has a counterpoint right in the article. I like this. First off, the chief justification for invading Iraq, that they had weapons of mass destruction, was demonstrated false. The crime of the Syrian regime have been well documented and confirmed by the UN, as their pursuit of nuclear weapons in the past ambitions are particularly thwarted by Israel in 2007, with oppression outside the box. Secondly, Saddam Hussein, larger influence in the Middle East, in spite of his demonstrated evil on many occasions, was stabilizing in many ways that Bashar al-Assad has never been. Saddam's various wars with Iran kept Iranian geopolitical and military energy focused on their adversaries to their direct western and to direct west, as opposed to their current extortion of terror around Middle East that we see today, from Iraq to Lebanon to Gaza. We must prioritize Assad's removal. Once Assad is gone, and the counterproductive of the insidious force of Russian influence is removed from Syria, then we can talk about what future governance of Syria would look like. Some have suggested a patrician a la Balkans circa 1999. I don't know what that is. Hold on a second. The only Syrian solution. Okay, so this is just somebody suggesting whatever it was he just. Let me look up this word. So this is a good point part of my video to point out that this channel isn't me pretending I know everything and putting my opinions out there as if I know everything. There's a lot about politics in general that I have to learn. And I have my opinions, and it's based off of what knowledge I do have. But I am always willing to learn new things. And I am going to change my political opinions, most likely based off of those things that I learn. Which is why that I am trying to encourage discussion so much in this. Anyways, patrician. Especially with reference to the country. The action or state of dividing or being divided into parts. Oh, okay, gotcha. Partition. Okay. A more favorable option would be UN-facilitated elections. That option is not perfect, however, as it runs the risk of breeding the type of ethnic and religious sectarianism we seen today in Iraq. But for the Syrian families out in the cold in Idlib, who likely await their own slaughter by air from Assad or his Russian allies, the far-off future and possibility of Jeffersonian democracy are largely beside the point. The fight against Russia and Iranian influence the main enabling forces of the murderous despotism of Assad should begin in Syria. Unfortunately, when the soft denialism of Donald Trump's asinine declaration of victory, the Syria after securing the oil, bullshit, and the rising tide of isolationism within the Democratic Party, the plight of Syrian people has no real end